Hey, thanks again for tuning in to the 3% Show. We're here. Really basically started this podcast to give the male and female energy and to also talk about good things, no matter if it's laughing and joking. But then there's certain things that I particularly feel close to after being aware of things. And I truly believe the reason why the show is called the 3% Show is I have this theory that people will show you 97% of who they are. And that's beautiful. That's more than most people would give. But that 3% they don't tell you is either the worst thing you ever gonna want to hear, it's gonna make you cloud your judgment, or it could be the best thing. I think the 3% that you get out of people, or that 3%, whether they say it or not, is what drives them. It's their passion, it's their dreams, it's their nightmares. So here, as we tackle different things, I have a young lady that I'm glad to have met by Google. And I said, oh, located in Houston. I have a young lady named Latina Baxter, and I looked over her work. And the reason why I'm having this show is because I've had friends on both sides. Unfortunately, for some reason, if you have melanin in your skin, I'll say that in the African American community, I saw a disparity within death rates of babies and mothers. I've heard horrible stories even after having, your child. It's a psychological, it's an emotional thing that me as a man I would never understand. So I can only imagine how it feels to be a woman to live through that, to possibly want to have another child, as well as living with those emotional and physical scars or whatever the case might be. So I decided to find out what a doula was. And I ran into, Latina's page, and I was just like, wow. And I joked with her earlier, and she'll tell you, when I heard doula, I thought about Erica Badu and incense. I had no clue. I just know all the sisters are saying they want to do it, but so that's what the show is about, just the understanding the importance of being a doula, um, just to find out what sparked her and truly just enjoy the blessing of the service that she's given, because it's a very intimate thing. It's a very spiritual thing to me, the way I would think of it. If it's different, we'll find out. But I'll give the floor, Ms. Latina. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for opening this platform for me. So I know the first time we talked, you were just like, "What is a doula? Who are you? What do you do?" And we talked a little bit about what that looks like. And I just thank you for, yeah, asking for me to come on the show and share my knowledge and kind of open up the conversation. It's not done enough. I don't think in our community, we just feel like you're having a baby as mothers, we just are supposed to know what that means. And the reality of it is that we don't, from pregnancy to postpartum, and the 18 years that we've got them in our lives, we just, it's a daily learning moment for us. So thank you for letting me join the show to talk to, women that are having babies at the beginning, and at least try to set them on the right path. So.
Absolutely. And I had no clue that this is not just I'm here for the moment, I'm going to teach you, coach you, I'm out the door. It's no audibles. This is a long game for some.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I've got clients. So I started Marley and Moo in 2014. So we're going on 6 years now. And I've got clients that were like my clients that first year, having babies. And we've been doing replicate babies, like I'm on baby number 3 with some of them now,
Wow.
being 6 years in. And yeah, like we're part of the process. We're part of the story. The babies may not remember us, but the mothers always will, and we will always be a part of that birth story and what the mothers experienced. And so I always want to make sure that story is one that they are proud to tell their kids about. And it's a beautiful experience that their kids are proud to be born into, so.
And that's interesting you said that, just the origin of a baby story. I mean, it's to the point where people even get birth certificates when they get sister-like. So I'm like, this has to be important across the board, because word of mouth, if you have a great pregnancy, I would think I believe the first step in me not being a woman, having postpartum is unthinkable because you're emotional. You have so much. I do want to step into that, but I'm sorry about that. I'm excited about the show.
Sure.
Can you give us a little background about yourself, your beginnings, and who you are? And
Sure. Yeah. So, Latina Baxter. I am born and raised in Michigan. So I come from Midwestern roots.
okay,
My parents are from the South. Okay. So they are from Louisiana, and we have, I basically lived everywhere across the United States except for the West Coast, but I married a West Coast man.
really, how'd that happen? Well,
Yeah, so I feel like I've been kind of everywhere you can imagine. But so originally from Michigan, I grew up in the regular Southern Baptist house. My dad is a preacher,
mhm.
comes from pastor roots and all kinds of stuff. So very typical in that idea.
Yeah.
And then I went to college at Howard University on the
What
East
you know
Coast.
about Howard? Come on now.
I did.
Come on. I wanted to go to Howard.
So I went to Howard University, started there in 2002.
Hmm.
So I'm old. I won't say old school Howard. I'm kind of like that in between. But
Hmm.
Howard doesn't look anything like it did back when I was there. It does today.
Are you
So
still homecoming Howard, or are you just like, hey?
I got too many kids for that. God, I'm raising too many babies over here to be homecoming Howard. So
All right.
um, yeah, but no, so I went to Howard University at my undergrad in psychology and business administration. And then I got my master's. I then moved to Illinois, so back to the Midwest, and got my master's in human resources and labor relations. So my entire time, I would say from high school, my junior year in high school, I
Mhm.
was always interested in labor.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
What did you see something, or was it just nurturing in you that?
Yeah. So I think it's just the nurturing in you. And we can talk a little bit about numerology. And you talked about,
I'm
when
here
babies are
for it.
born and all that
I'm
stuff.
here
So,
for it.
yeah. So my numbers actually line up to be more in line with the nurturing. I'm always supposed to be in a field where I'm nurturing a mother.
Mm.
Okay, so I'm a numerology 6. I have 6s all over me. Like my phone number is 666, like they're all over.
Mm.
So I'm always supposed to be that. That's just who I am. So when I was in high school, I originally wanted to be an OBGYN,
Okay.
just not knowing that there was anything else that I could do, really. I didn't know about midwifery. I didn't know about what a doula was.
Okay. Hmm.
None of that was information that I received.
So I'm not
Okay.
alone,
No, you're not alone.
but it's been
So I
around forever.
started, yeah. So I started my career wanting to be a OBGYN. But not too long after starting that path, I realized I also want to have a family,
Mhm.
right? So being an OBGYN does not allow you to have a whole lot of time to have a family. And so I interned at an OBGYN office, and I quickly learned that probably wasn't for me. The 24-hour a day on-call shifts,
Right.
not being able to go home for 3 days, sleeping in the hospital, like that wasn't my thing. And
Okay.
so I then just somehow happened to go into HR. Okay. So I went into human resources. My father is in human resources. And
Okay.
so I was just kind of like, okay, I'll just do what it is. I did psychology, wanted to do industrial relations, kind of understanding the mentality behind, how does a business run
Right.
based off of the people that work there. And so, and then I ended up in human resources. So very far away from what I wanted to do originally.
Right. I'm thinking you're
Very far.
nurturing people. Human resources, they normally sending out emails. Uh,
Right. We're pushing paperwork to get people
that's all.
out, right?
Absolutely. We need a
Right.
paper trail.
So, and I'm a little different of a human resources person people like me. I get in the trenches with my people. I worked in oil and gas. I would put the PPE on, get out there in the manufacturing center, hang out with my guys. They talking about Miss Latina. Help me with this. And I'm a different character, right? So I want to get to know people.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I had my daughter, I was pregnant with my daughter, Marley, hence the name Marley and Moo for the business.
Absolutely.
So I was pregnant with my daughter, Marley, and I quickly realized that half the information that I was studying, I had a really good friend, a sorority sister of mine, we were pregnant at the same time. And so we were kicking information back and forth to each other. And I'm like, why don't people know this?
Exactly.
Like, why don't we know about postpartum and the ways that you should have babies and the importance of, having support and people around you. And so I went through my postpartum with Marley, which was difficult.
Okay.
I'll just say that. It was a difficult experience. I was a young mother. I was 27 when so I don't know if that's young, but I feel like my age, and I'm 36 now. I just feel like, man, having a baby at 27, like, what was I thinking? So, but 27, and I don't think I was prepared. And I felt like I had to do a lot of that preparation on my own, especially for the postpartum piece. They just don't prep us. They're like, here's all the information to have a baby. Now you have a baby. Now figure it out. And I wasn't ready for that.
And at this time, did you feel like, in dealing with that, did you feel like people around you tried to kind of prep you, or was it, like you're saying, even family and community, like, you're going to have a baby, this is just what's going to happen, this is your body, as long as you have a healthy baby, we're good?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think it mattered. Well, there's no really understanding about what happens to a woman in postpartum.
Okay.
So, we don't understand it. We're not told hormonally what happens to a woman
at all. All I've seen was jokes. It's many of male comedians that come out with, I'm not mad at you, I'm yelling at your hormones, when I think that we have no clue. Or even
and it's almost a joke, right? So I always tell my clients, I'm like, your wife is not crazy. She hasn't lost her mind.
Right.
She truly has a hormonal imbalance that's happening in her system, and she can't control that. And so we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about what we're supposed to do. And we can get into this later in the conversation, but we don't talk about what it is that we're supposed to do to help women get through that, right? We just say, you just have a baby, now figure it out. Okay?
Right. Have this time off of work, figure it out.
Which is nothing in most states.
Wow.
Right? So I got 6 weeks postpartum with my daughter, when in reality, you should really be staying out the full time that it takes to produce a child, right?
So, I agree with that. I mean,
so so back to the story. So I had my daughter. She was about 3 years old, and I was working in human resources, and we were laying off people left and right. Like I said, I used to work in oil and gas, and oil and gas in Houston is very up and down. So it's just, you never know what's going to happen.
Thanks.
And so I joined, or no, not joined, but I was involved in letting go of a multitude of people in oil and gas. And so what I realized at that moment was, I need to find something that I'm passionate about. Because if I have to live my life watching people give 15, 20 years to an organization and being walked out with a box,
right? That's
that's just not worth it. And I could be on that side of the fence at any time. So I'm the one doing the terminations, but that could be me at any moment. Absolutely. And so I knew that wasn't for me very early. So then I decided to, I had kind of a mini breakdown, like a mini midlife crisis, if you will. Because I was sitting in my office, I was sitting outside in the parking lot one day. I was talking to my husband. I was like, I just can't do this anymore. I'm emotionally drained watching myself walk 10 to 15 people out of this building every day for the last 2 weeks. I can't do it. And so he simply said, well, what do you want to do? And I think I broke down even more, cried, bawled. You know, I don't know what I want to do.
That is the hardest lines. What do you want to do?
I don't know. I want to do something that I'm passionate about.
Absolutely.
And so I didn't know what that looked like. Back then I was still going to, you know, your regular Christian church and churches. And I was in church one day and something spoke to me and it said that I needed to be in maternity. Whatever that looked like, I needed to be there. And so I started Marley Moo Maternity basically as it was just going to be an education piece. I was just going to give all the knowledge that I had to give to women, not realizing that it was an actual title or that, you know, it was something I could do. And I was still working in 9 to 5 in the oil and gas company. And then I decided to start taking prenatal yoga training classes. So I went and got certified in teaching yoga because that's something that brought me a lot of peace in my postpartum period. And so I wanted to teach that to other people. And so during that training, one of my classmates, who's a very good friend of mine still today, she told me that I needed to be a doula. And I was like, I don't know what or why I would do that. I don't know how I would fit that into my life right now, but I'm just going to go for it. And so I went to the doula training. Literally 2 weeks later, after I went to the doula training, I got an offer for a work from home job.
Wow.
In HR. So I'm a regional director for human resources. I support a senior living company, which is also just another passionate field to be in. And it opened up the opportunity for me to build my doula business and still do everything else that I needed to do. The universe just unfolded.
That's a real blessing. It's something about when you walk with faith, once you hear it and then you flesh it out and just walk in it, it's something completely different.
Absolutely.
I'm a witness to that. I moved down here on faith almost 10 years ago and never looked back. So, you know, what's for you is for you, and you put yourself in a position, and I'm very excited about it and proud.
Yeah.
We need more people like you. So let me ask you a question here. For those who are not familiar with a doula, because I grew up hearing about midwives. Since the ancient times, midwives. For those who are not familiar with the function and the things that doulas provide, can you just give us a quick overview of what you do?
Yeah. So we get this question a lot. I get clients that call me all the time that say, you know, how much is your fee?
Off tops.
It's, you know, ranges from $900 to $2,500 depending on the package.
Correct.
And they're like, to birth a baby? And I'm like, oh wait, no.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, no. You know, push it out. What are you doing?
No. To birth a baby, it's way more expensive than that. But we, no, so what we do as doulas, we are strictly just emotional support, and we provide comfort measures. So emotional and physical support during labor. And I always relate it. So if you've heard other podcasts that I've done before, I relate it to a Sherpa. Okay. So they're those people that help the people climb Mount Everest. Okay. So they know the path, right? They know they know what it takes to get there, and they can educate you along the way, but they can't do it for you.
Right. So you are the weaponry. Okay.
So we are the person that's going to educate you and hold your hand all the way through, but we can't do it for you. So sometimes you hear doulas say, you know, I'm going to advocate for the mom. No. You're not the advocate for the mom. You're teaching the mom how to advocate for herself. Because there's so much more power there when the mom feels that she has that confidence to be able to do that for herself.
And do you feel, since you've gotten into that field, when you first started, did it surprise you how some ladies felt like they had no voice? They just had to sit back and just take whatever was given? Because I've heard stories of women saying that they're unfairly treated. If it's a pain tolerance, they feel like, I hear stories of the doctor saying, you can take it. You're supposed to have this high threshold, or even dealing with C-sections, they're immediately jumping to C-sections as opposed to natural births, depending on the treatment. So I related the doula story that I've been hearing, and when I was looking up information, you know, I never imagined the emotional and mental toughness that happens when, I know it hurts. That's what they hear. It's something I'll never understand, but I
Yeah.
didn't understand the lasting effects of it. And
It's
that's what you help.
you know, there's trauma that happens. So if you, like as a woman, if you look at the experience that is supposed to walk you into what we consider womanhood, and you have a traumatic experience behind that, I mean, that's going to set you up for, you don't feel powerful anymore. You know, you don't feel like you have control of anything.
Right. It makes you second guess yourself, probably.
It makes you second guess yourself. Yeah. I have, so I can just talk personally for me. You know, I had my daughter and my son naturally, and not that you have to do it naturally to get this feeling, but you need to have some kind of feeling of control. You have to have some kind of feeling of confidence, right? Regardless of how it turns out, you have to have that feeling behind you to make it a pleasurable birth, right?
That makes sense. It makes it seem like you're doing your part.
Right. So for me, whenever something happens to me, like I'm like, I got this, because I had, you know, I can do this without question, because I have had that experience.
Right, you went through it.
Right, but if you have an experience where somebody has the trauma built into it, not only does the mom have the trauma, the baby has the trauma as well.
That was leading to it. My co-host Britt, she couldn't be here, as I said before. She has a previous engagement. She has a young child. And two of my great friends, one of them was supposed to be on the show, but she wasn't able to make it. Something happened, and hopefully she feels better.
Yeah.
She made a comment, if I can just say a little bit about her. She had her niece that was pregnant. And through the pregnancy, complications happened. I believe that they didn't listen to what she was saying her body was telling her. It just so happened she passed. And now she has a son. We call Daniel, that's her son, period. And she said one thing, that if a baby is born into the world in trauma, he's normally coming out with trauma. He has his receptive nerves are, you know, is traumatic. And my co-host, when I talked to her and I wanted to do the show, and she wanted to be here so bad.
I know, we were trying to fit it around her schedule purposefully.
Absolutely. She said a comment, she said, you know what? Well, my child, I'm so thankful for my man. I'm so thankful for my mother. She said, I had a beautiful environment around me, and that's what made my pregnancy just a beautiful thing. And my child is calm and more. And I wouldn't even thought to register something like that. So when I started looking at doulas, I'm like, y'all do so much. You know, people would think that it's just like, okay, push the baby out like on Martin, catch it across the room. I got the baby, it's done. So again, I wanted to bring you on here because I never knew you had an option, and I want more people to understand, especially people of color in urban communities or whatever the case might be. But I feel that if we can stop this traumatic experience, because sometimes I would think that women sometimes would be scared or even nervous about it. So what do you feel that are some of the most misconceptions about doulas for people who have no clue? How would you introduce it to that particular crowd, or somebody that is questioning, hey, do I really need to, or?
Yeah. We're your birth partner. So you put so think about your marriage. So when you got married, you put a whole lot of money into having a wedding planner. Why would you not put that same amount of effort and money into what will make a difference in you and your child's life for the rest of your life? For the rest of both lives.
Because I'm looking here, I mean, just looking at your, looking at the website, I had no idea about a meal plan. I had no idea that is the breastfeeding part I understand.
Yeah.
But the meal plan, the capsulation, I was just mind blown on everything. And I see you have like 7 different ladies that I was looking at underneath, and they each sometimes specifically deal with things. But the postpartum, do you feel that when women are going through postpartum, they must admit it to themselves that they need help? Because it seemed like you would be at the lowest that you could be as far as energy wise. You just giving birth, and you're supposed to be able to take care of a child, your body's healing, and then feel like you're still at the level that you're normally at, trying to be superwoman.
So I will say, just normally most moms that are going through postpartum don't realize that they are going through it until they come out of it. So it's important to educate the partners and the people around them about what postpartum looks like so that they can recognize it and support them first, right? Because we just in reality, we're just like, I'm tired, or they don't want to admit it because everybody wants to be super mom.
Right. To perform at the level you were before this, and you're not doing that on the inside.
Right. Nobody wants to admit that they have this inability to raise their kid. And then in our community, I talk about this a lot, there's such a stigma behind it. So our grandmas and our mamas and our aunties.
Absolutely.
They're like, girl, you had a baby. I had 5 kids and didn't need no help from nobody. Well, that was you. And I'm pretty sure you did need help, but you didn't want to admit it.
Right. Somebody probably saw you needed it and just did it.
Right. And just did it. So we have to make sure that not only the mom is educated, but also the people that she's going to have around her are educated about it as well. So we spend a lot of our postpartum, or a lot of our conversation with our moms, with our dads too. So we spend a whole session talking about postpartum and the importance of it, right? And so we talk about, what do dads need to do to recognize?
That was going to be my question. What is the fella's role in some of these things?
Yeah, because a lot of times dads feel like, oh my, I don't know what to do. They feel like they don't have a role. Well, you birthed the baby. I can't breastfeed. He doesn't want to come by me. No, you still have a role, a very important role, right? But we have to educate them on what that is. So.
Do you think it's a eye-opening experience for men to be like, when they're going through it, are they like, wow, this is everything that you do, even when you're laying down, your mind, you're constantly, wow.
For dads, or to realize that in the woman, what do you mean by that?
Right. I mean, for us on the outside looking in, again, like I said, I have friends that have kids, and they're like, hey, I'll make a bottle, but it's more of the postpartum portion. That, do you think when they go through the class, as far as having you all there, they learn more information, they start to understand the way a woman mentally and emotionally feels, and it's like a breakthrough for them in a way?
Yeah, they have a wow moment. I see a lot of my dads, even when we talk about birth and comfort measures and stuff like that, they're like, what? Like people that didn't hire a doula before and they just hire us for the childbirth class. So we'll have the childbirth class, and after the childbirth class, they're like, how much is it? When can we sign up?
I mean, I instantly, when I looked at things, I was like, wow. Wow.
Because they're like, this is too much work. I'm just going to hire you to come on in and do it and support us. They have a reality check. But yeah, the postpartum piece is very important. And I love it when my dads know about postpartum and they're teaching their wives. It was a similar situation with my husband and I. So I actually got into the doula organization, or doula realm, because my husband introduced me to natural birth with Marley. I told you very early on, I wanted to be an OB-GYN.
Right.
I wasn't on the natural route. I was always like, shoot me up with whatever you got to give me.
Click the button.
Right? Take the pain away, and I'm down, But my husband was like, no, I want you to look into doing it more natural. And he introduced me to a video called The Business of Being Born. And it's a Ricky Lake movie. And in the end, the mom that is being represented actually ends up having a cesarean.
Wow.
But the process of, and you start to experience and you realize that half the stuff that they're going to give you, you don't in reality need. Okay. So he opened my mind to that. And he was like, if anybody can do this, you can, you know, and he's had children before with an ex-wife and stuff. And he just knew, like, if anybody's going to do this, I've seen this road, I've seen this path, it's going to be you. And so I took it, me personally, I take things, that's like a challenge to me. So you give me a challenge, we gonna rock it out, you know?
Hey, totally understand it.
Yeah, so there was no other choice past then, you know, even in the throes of transition, which is a point in labor when it's go time, you know, when I wanted to give up, I know I got to prove myself.
That's that control factor too. It's a challenge, and you like, I got this.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've seen 3 babies being born, and I marvel at it. I marvel because the strength, and you already know what's going to happen yourself, and what you might experience. It was eye opening. From the crown part, I said, everything. Oh. Let me stay up here and hold the hand.
Yeah.
I was just so amazed at a woman's body. You all are phenomenal. I tell anybody, I'm so glad I'm a man. It's just certain things it wouldn't happen. I felt like the Cosby Show when Theo gave birth to the car and Bill. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But let me see one thing I always wondered is you have these beautiful women on your team. What is the process of hiring somebody for those positions? It seems like you have to be anointed to let the right people inside the inner circle because of the job you do. Like it's something that I was just thinking, like, wow, how do you say yes, you're fit to be in these personal and intimate situations and relationships from here on out? I mean, how did you come across that? Was that hard
to hire people?
Find the right people, or
right people, yeah. So it's been a collaborative or an agency for 4 years now. So I was an individual doula running Marley Moo on my own for 2 years, and then I decided to add people to my team because it started to get bigger than I myself could just handle. And I wanted to continue to give that level of support to women. So I was like, I have to find women that are like-minded. So very early on, we had some trials. We went through a couple of people. And then, you know, my husband made a good point. He's like, that moo is you. Like, it's Marley Moo. He's like, the moo is you. And you need to find women that represent you. Because you're sending them out there as you. They are a representation of the brand. And so so I started to get a little bit more picky with my people, and you do. So I had to pull out my HR, you know, piece in me and be a little bit more specific about the people that I brought on my team. And my team is phenomenal. I mean, I've worked with a lot of amazing women. And some I'm still friends with today. You know, they've gone on to do bigger and better things, wish they would come back to my team. But, you know, you have to let them grow when they're ready to grow. But, you know, the group that I have right now, yeah, it takes some time. I'm a pretty good judge of character, I feel. So when I get them in front of me and I just see their passion or we connect, you know, quickly, then I know that it's a good fit. And I actually have my team members interview them as well.
Really?
So I've stopped bringing on new people without my team members that have been with me for a long time.
Right.
Them. Because I want us all to mesh. Like I want us to be a family. I want us to have fun together, and I want it to be a girl tribe. And when you bring a lot of girls into the mix,
5 sisters. We live in an era where girls don't have girlfriends anymore. I'm like, what? But I understand they can. That's why I said it's a beautiful thing to see our sisters come together and like work, as you said, a tribe.
Yeah. When you bring girls into the mix, sometimes, you know, we like to be our own chiefs. And so we have to, you know, I hope that I manage that well. I mean, you have to ask my team and see. But yeah, no, they're a great group of girls.
It's good. I mean, and that's the thing about it. I've learned, um, you know, sometimes when you're at work, they're more of your family than your own actual family. You are there for 8 hours. And I've seen kids go from infants and they're now 3, just being at one job. So I can only imagine and understand how everybody has to go through the process of you and your coworkers and people that's been there longer to get that niche, that close knit family part.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you talk about just that as a piece for our team, but that's also important for the clients that we support too.
Absolutely.
I like for our girls to go in like you're their long lost best friend. You know, I want you to walk in that home like you've known them for 10 years.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know, there
Show up
should
like Tupac, Cousin Pete, I'm here.
there shouldn't be any uneasiness. Like I want you to go get on, sit on the couch, lean forward, love on them, give them hugs. Like I'm a hugger, back when we could hug people before
Absolutely.
COVID. I hate that I can't hug my clients now, but
Yeah.
like hug them and embrace them and love them, no matter if you met them today or 10 years ago. So you should have that feeling of family. When I send out my initial email to new clients, I always say, welcome to the family.
Absolutely.
Because that it is. They're joining the Marley Moo family. So.
And that could be big because sometimes people don't have a big family around them, or you never know what the support system is. And
Yeah.
I truly say the one thing that I feel that we're lacking sometimes in the Black community or in the Black family is because of social media, we've lost track of talk and texture. We don't love on each other a lot. Like when I was young Thursday, I knew I was going to be on the sofa looking at Bill Cosby, huddled up on one small sofa, and the access and the dynamics of some of the households. I mean, everybody's watching TV and more, and everybody kind of got their own thing. So I think the nurturing, as far as touching more, is important for what you do. So I totally can understand that.
Yeah, touch is so important. When COVID hit, I remember telling some of my girlfriends, I'm like, I was depressed almost because I just needed and I thrive off of physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't getting that. Yeah, my family was here, but I needed to embrace my outer folks. Like
Absolutely.
I needed to love on them and be in contact with people. And it's very difficult. And so think of other people in the rooms with them. Right now you hear there was a big thing about, New York wasn't letting anybody in the room with them when they were having babies. That's insane.
They feel alone. It's already this time alone. I couldn't imagine it.
Birth by yourself. I mean, I can't imagine what those women went through. And I'm glad that a lot of the hospitals changed that. And we have a hospital here in Houston, the Women's Hospital. They're still letting doulas in. They are the only hospital in the Houston area that is allowing doulas to go in addition to the father.
And that's what I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That leads to one of the next questions. As far as when I was looking, so it shows that sometimes insurance covers doulas, some don't. Is that kind of a state by state thing, or do you think
An insurance by insurance thing?
Insurance by insurance.
Yeah. So we haven't across the board have not been able to get doulas covered under insurance. It's specific to your insurance, and normally it's not going to be an upfront coverage. It's going to be a reimbursement process.
Okay.
So I'm starting to
something that you ask about in HR when they're applying for jobs. Should ladies ask, "Hey, will this be covered for doulas, or which insurance to choose?" Or, programs. Okay.
Yeah, and I also tell women to use their HSA. So people that are like, when we find out they're pregnant in November or late summer, I always tell them, if you're gonna do a doula, make sure that you have money in your HSA or your flexible spending account to pay for that, because we can bill you later. I'm flexible with my clients. If they have to do HSA or insurance and stuff, I will adjust the invoice so that they can do that.
Because you are a beautiful soul.
I am.
You're a beautiful soul about the coins. I don't know who your husband is, but y'all gotta be a heck of a team because he sounds like he have a plan. He's seeing the future. You got this, and y'all charging forward, so it's
Yeah.
working.
Yeah. I'm like, I will help you. So
Yeah.
yeah, you want to have flexible spending, health savings accounts. They are more likely to pay for it than upfront insurance. So, but yeah, we walk our clients through that too.
Okay. Okay. That's excellent. Well, I tell you what, I've spent a lot of your time today, and I appreciate you coming to me.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
the only question that I have is because the show is called the 3%. Um, where do you see yourself going as far as your 3%? Where is your passion pushing you from where you are now? Where would you like to go? Where would you like to see your name or your work being done? Is it just here in Houston, or what would you like to tell anybody that's going to be listening as far as
Yeah.
it's interested in being a doula?
So, if you are interested in being a doula, just do it. Not all doulas are created equally. I say that all the time too. So make sure your heart is in it and that you're doing it for the right reason, right? Um, and you're not doing it for anything else but to live your passion because it's hard work. I mean, you have to be on call 24/7 for, when women have babies, and when you go to the hospital, you don't know when you're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I've done, a birth before that was 22 hours.
Wow.
So make sure your heart is in it and that you're not just doing it as something willy-nilly. Um, the doula industry is becoming very overpopulated with people that just that want to do it for fun, but it's hard. And it's hard to get to a level where you can do consistently keep income because there are so many doulas out there. So do it, charge your worth. That's my other piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes to the 3% too. Charge what you're worth. Don't belittle your value,
Mm-hmm.
right? You are bringing something to a family that they are going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
Don't belittle that. Even though you're in a business of passion, that does not mean that people shouldn't pay you.
Absolutely. That's a word. That is truly a word because absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
that's a piece of advice for anybody that wants to be a doula. As far as where I want to go, I actually would like to, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. I've been wanting to do like a merch line.
Really?
Yeah. And one of our taglines that is trademarked is birth like a boss. And so I would love to start, putting that on some maternity outfits and things like that for moms and just like blow that up. Cause I think that's just such it's a powerful statement, birth like a boss.
And
So
you explained it. Yes, it is.
yeah.
It
So
is.
I want to do that. And I think I want to, my late in life dream is to actually become a midwife.
Really.
So,
But you want to be in the actual.
I want to be in the action. I want to go back because I used to want to be an OB. I want to go back to that. I want to bring that.
Oh,
I got to bring it back.
midwife? Ooh.
So I was talking to a really good friend of mine here in Houston. Her name's Rowan. She's a midwife. And I was like, I don't know because I don't want to be, I need to build it. And she's like, you can be a midwife however you want to be it. So my husband and I actually have dream life. We want to get a bomb ass RV. So I don't know if I can say
bomb ass RV.
Bomb ass RV and travel the world. He's a chef. So my husband's a chef. So he can do that wherever. So we're going to take it on the road. And I'm like, I could be a midwife and I could be like the traveling midwife. Like we're doula. Like that's cool.
Everything is a first.
That's my when my kids get older, dream.
I think it's beautiful. I actually think it's a smart idea too. Literally, the way things are going, people have access to things. If you have a bad ass RV, you can do whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah.
I did. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
We live in a world where you have a dream, a passion, go for it. There's nothing that should hold anybody back from being able to do what it is that they love. I tell my people in my 9-to-5 job, like, what are you passionate about? Let's build a business. Like, I have a very, I love seeing businesses grow. I've helped my sister with her photography business. I've helped several good friends of ours build, their business and find their passion and just go for it. And we're in the day right now. If you're not happy, like, you just haven't made the effort to put that, put anything into your passion. So just do it. Like,
and I appreciate that, because you're not even knowing, by this being a young thing, and like I said, I feel like I'm in a world where the world is obese and I'm anorexic, but I'm always feeding people. And everybody else is looking at me saying, hey, you were meant to do something great. You've been meant to do this for a long time. So
yeah,
I appreciate you speaking things into existence. And also remember that this show is not going to be necessarily about me. I feel I just want to be able to get the platform out for great information, good times, things that happen. I'm not going to be on the Nicki Minaj / Who's Fighting. I can't do that. I'm not a reality TV kind of dude, but we're going to discuss a lot of things, but such as businesses. And like I said, I know people that need photographers all the time. I know people that are designers for screen print and more. So I just want to be able to network and push people's dreams out. And that's
absolutely.
important.
Absolutely. Well, this is a start. You're on a great path, and giving people the opportunity to share it is what they do, is going to, nobody's ever gonna, I don't think anybody's ever gonna turn you down. We love free marketing.
That's it. That's it. And like you said, the thing you spoke to me was know your worth. Because if anybody asks me, say for instance, if Spotify or somebody want to pick you up, I'm like, I'm not doing it for the money. I genuinely care about people and building a village. And that's it. I'd rather pay everything forward and assist people to get to where they want to be. Because now I want some of your husband's food. I don't know where he's cooking it. He's a chef, but I'm willing to go. I'm willing to go. Depending on the food, I'm ready.
Telling you, yep. It's all about getting the word out,
So
well,
plug your company again.
Plug my company, yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. So thank you. Marley Moo Maternity, we're a Houston-based doula agency that will bring you from pregnancy to birth and postpartum, where you can take on the confidence to take on motherhood like a boss. Like a boss.
And I want a shirt.
I do have shirts. I will get you.
I got one for you. We gonna switch.
I will get you one. I'm gonna get your co-host a shirt for sure.
Absolutely.
So we can be found on Instagram at Marley and Moo. We're also on Facebook, Marley Moo Maternity. Our website is www.marleymoomaternity.com. And if you just Google Marley and Moo Maternity, I think you're gonna find us too. I'm gonna do a little plug for my husband too, since you were talking about him a little bit.
Drop a clue bomb. Go ahead with it.
So he is Chef Demetrius. He's here in Houston. He's a chef to the stars. So he will feed you whatever you need, catering or private chef. He will take care of you. His website is www.chefdemetrius.com. You can find him on Instagram at the Chef Demetrius. And then if you like if you're an artist and you like a little hip hop and you want to throw that in the mix too, he is also a producer and a musician. You can find him at Hosanna Bax. He's got some really amazing stuff coming out for our people. So just stay tuned for that. So that's us.
I'll tell you what, I need you to tag me in all of this so I can follow. I think I might actually follow him, because I've been looking for a studio to record in myself. And actually, I was going to do a show because I have a friend of mine, Chef Virgo. They have their catering. We got Happy Plates. They're from Kansas City, and they do a mobile. So I wanted to do one just about chefs, so I can just put more information out. Since everybody's buying black, I at least like to have the food taste good. I'll support you, but the food got to taste good.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that with this one.
I believe you. If he's as confident as you are about the challenge, then I know my ankle's either gonna swell or I'm gonna be dancing and eating.
You're gonna be dancing. You be dancing. So.
Ms. Baxter, I tell you what, I truly appreciate your time. I appreciate your husband allowing you to be here with us today on this Saturday. And it's truly a blessing. And from the bottom of my heart and the 3% Show, we truly appreciate you. If ever there's something going on, and be sure to check out on her on the website, because they have different events that's already listed on there. So it's constantly thing going on in these COVID streets. They're still working. They're still working for you. So
Yep.
I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right. I'm gonna go to Howard Homecoming one day. Watch. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be sitting in there. I just want some blue crabs and all that. That's it. All right. You have a blessed day.
All right, you too. Thank you so much. Bye.